Hi everybody, I'm Jordan Rolfus from Beagle Rampant Productions, and today is Good Friday, so I got a lot of fun Good Friday things to discuss. Some things about Dante's Inferno, which obviously takes place on Good Friday, and I wanted to sort of mention some of those unifying themes in between all of the different spring holidays. I love doing that at Christmas time, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to go ahead and do that for the spring festivities as well. One game that I think kind of fits in nicely with Good Friday is Doom, believe it or not. There are some themes I think that kind of relate to Doom that kind of match up kind of interestingly with Good Friday and of course with Dante's Inferno. And I also wanted to mention a little bit about the Sega 32X machine. You can sort of hear the typical Doom song, the song that we all associate with Doom. You know, the Atari Jaguar version that I had been playing on this channel didn't really have any sound. They call that the Silent Doom. It didn't have the music, and you almost wish this version was the Silent Doom as well, because this audio is horrible, these graphics are horrible, and you notice the actual play screen is really, really small. This isn't obviously me playing at the moment. I would never do that good at playing Doom, but yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Sega 32X and also mention a little bit of Dante's Inferno and some of the different Easter-themed holidays. Easter, Passover, Miraj and Isra on the Islamic end, and the birthday of Buddha. I find a lot of unifying themes between all of them, so I wanted to mention that a little bit. My ears are really congested, so I don't know if I sound good, but sounding good has never really stopped me before on recording a video, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with Doom for the 32X, and I'll start at level 12. We'll jump right on in the Inferno there. And of course I'll play on Hurt Me Plenty, my favorite difficulty. Was I smart enough to change the controls? Yes, I changed the controls. Alright. So let's talk a little bit about the Sega 32X. As a lot of you who watch this channel are probably aware, the Sega Genesis was the main rival to the Super Nintendo Entertainment System in the 1990s. The big rival was Mario and Sonic. Oh my goodness. Mario and Sonic did not like each other back in the 90s. It's cool now. They hang out at the Olympics and everything, and they're bros. But back in the 1990s, Sega was always trying to get a leg up on Nintendo. One way they attempted to do this was the release of the Sega CD add-on for the Genesis systems. That was released in 1991, and it featured some games like Night Trap, a lot of full-motion video games. And Night Trap had a lot of controversy when it was first released, but, I mean, you look at Night Trap and then you compare it to some of the stuff you see on primetime television today. Oh my goodness, Night Trap is tame. It really is. Some of the stuff on primetime television today is way more intense than Night Trap could ever have hoped to have been, but the Sega CD is often cited as being a commercial failure. People weren't really into that, and it sold 2 million units, which isn't as good as it probably should have been, but I guess it could have done worse, in theory, for having to buy something so expensive on a new machine, and oh my goodness, look at all these monitors. Oh, I'm not good at Doom. But yeah, the Sega CD... It's hard to concentrate when you're getting eaten. But the Sega CD didn't really do all that well. It was discontinued in 1996, and Sega, seemingly not learning from their mistakes, decided, well, we should have an add-on to make our 16-bit console a 32-bit machine. So they went ahead and developed the 32X. The problem with this was it the 32X was released at the exact same time as their follow-up system, the Sega Saturn in Japan. The Sega Saturn being the competitor to the Nintendo 64 and the Sony PlayStation. The 32X came out at the exact same time as the Sega Saturn in Japan. Oh my goodness, I don't have any weapons or ammo or anything. That ain't good. Anyway, what horrible timing. I mean, nobody cared in Japan about the 32X because everyone was busy buying their Sega Saturn. And 6 months later, the Sega Saturn would come out in North America and Europe. So they're released 6 months apart from each other in North America and Europe. The idea was initially that the Sega Saturn would be sort of a stopgap console in between the Genesis and the Saturn, and also as a more low-cost option for the people who didn't want to pony up for a Sega Saturn. Good in theory, but, you know, ultimately the consumers didn't really buy that, and one of the producers for Sega, Scott Bayless, said that this basically just made us look greedy and dumb in front of the consumers, and I really have to agree with that sentiment. Yeah, it made them look pretty greedy and dumb. The 32X library only consisted of 40 games, 6 of which also required the Sega CD add-on. And yes, the Sega Saturn is a 32-bit console with a CD unit, and when you consider a game like Doom, Doom isn't one of those games that require a CD, obviously, but, I'm playing Doom right now with a 6-button Sega Genesis controller, not the traditional 3-button controller. The Sega Saturn controller also had 6 buttons and... Okay, the Saturn controller did have 2 shoulder buttons at the top, the Genesis controllers never did, but basically by that point, the 32X has kind of become a Sega Saturn. And if you thought the sales of the Sega CD were poor, the 32X couldn't even break 750,000 units, so it didn't do very well at all. It was definitely a commercial flop, if ever there was one in the gaming industry. Whew, all that talking, you know? But yeah, the Sega Saturn just never really... Well, the Sega Saturn never really caught on either, but that's a whole nother video. The 32X never really caught on, and there was a time when they wanted to sort of combine the Sega Genesis with the 32X, calling it the Sega Neptune. And ultimately, the Sega Neptune would never see the light of day. There were hundreds and thousands of units of that just rotting away in a warehouse, now ultimately sent to the Inferno. And speaking of the Inferno, because I am good at segues, let's talk a little bit about Dante's Inferno. Dante, of course, Dante Alighieri, a very rich and prominent Italian poet who got less rich after some interpolitical craziness. It gets pretty crazy. There was the Guelphs and the... I'm going to mispronounce this, Ghibellines. Dante was a Guelph, but Pope Boniface VIII gave provisions to the Ghibellines, so Dante ends up getting exiled, and he has an axe to grind now. And you'll see, throughout the Inferno, Dante puts a lot of his enemies in hell. And basically, the story of the Inferno goes, on Good Friday of 1300, Dante is wandering through a forest. He had strayed from the, good and noble path there, and he sees, the 3 beasts. One that represents violence, like the violence that is being shown on my Doom guy here. One that represents incontinence, sins where you can't control yourself, and one beast that represents fraud. And Dante is, tripped up and horrified by these sights, but the great Roman poet Virgil, who described Rome's origins after the Trojan War, was sent from Dante's girlfriend, Beatrice. Beatrice is in paradise. Of course, obviously, you're going to put your girlfriend in paradise. I mean, that's just logic, you know, or else you in the doghouse. Although, ultimately, Dante never gets with Beatrice in his life, but that's a whole nother story. So Dante's girlfriend sends the great Roman poet Virgil to help show him the error of his ways, an error which really isn't all that big, I don't think, but, that's how it was in the 1300s. You had to be hard on yourself, and Virgil's goal is to lead Dante through all of the Inferno and up the mountain of Purgatory, where Beatrice will then take over and show him paradise, so he can get back on the good and noble path and find ultimate salvation. So Virgil begins leading Dante through all of the different rings of the Inferno. The first ring is Limbo, which is for the virtuous pagans, or the people who had not heard the message of Jesus. Their punishment is really just they can't have ultimate salvation. They're in a pretty chill and peaceful environment, but it's a hopeless peace, Hopeless Peace. That could be the name of a rock band. The second circle of the Inferno is the lustful, and their punishment is to be blown around in a furious wind. The third circle is for the gluttonous. Their punishment is to get drooled on by Cerberus as they are writhing in a big pool of garbage and filth. The fourth circle is for the hoarders and the wasters, who are heaving heavy boulders at each other, shouting, "Why you hoarding? Why you wasting, brah?" The fifth circle is for the prodigal and avaricious. They are drowning in the river Styx. The sixth circle is for the heretics. They are resting in burning coffins. The seventh circle is for the violent. The violence against oneself. Their punishment is to become a tree and get ripped open by the harpies. Like how I'm getting ripped open by imps here. The violence against neighbor. Their punishment is to stand in a river of blood. And, river of blood, like what I'm going to be standing in just a moment here. And, my goodness. Have you noticed that these guys are a lot harder in the 2016 version of Doom? Apparently I can't get by them here either, but, in the 2016 version of Doom, I cannot get by those guys at all, but, yeah, the violence against neighbors have to stand in a river of blood. The violent against God and nature have to endure a burning rain. And the eighth circle is for the fraudulence. The eighth circle is divided into 10 smaller circles called Bolgias. The first is for the, I'm blanking on what the first Bolgia is. The second is the flatterers and the seducers. They have to make love to filth and garbage. The third is the simoniacs, people who sell church offices. Their punishment is to rest in a flaming baptismal font because they made a mockery of the baptismal font there. Pope Boniface VIII is going to be one of the people. Dante will pop in there. Boniface VIII had not died at the time the story took place there. The fourth Bolgia is for the fortune tellers. They must walk with their heads twisted backwards. The fifth Bolgia is for the grafters. Dante himself was accused for grafting. Their punishment is to be poked at by demons in a pit of boiling pitch. The sixth Bolgia of the eighth circle is for the hypocrites. Their punishment is to walk with a robe made out of lead. The seventh is for the thieves. Their punishment is to get eaten by snakes. The eighth Bolgia is for the evil counselors, and their punishment is to be hidden inside a flaming wall, and Dante puts Odysseus in here. Odysseus, who came up with the idea of the Trojan horse, because remember, Dante is Italian, and the Italians consider themselves descendants of the Trojans, and Odysseus was an enemy to Troy, so obviously Odysseus is going to be put into Dante, the Italian's Inferno. The ninth Bolgia, and this is where it gets very interesting, is for the sowers of scandal and schism. Their punishment is to get cut open by a demon, and then they are to walk around the whole circle, and then they are healed and cut up again, rinse and repeat. This is a very real threat that seems to be attacking us these days, the sowers of scandal and schism, and it's from every angle, it would seem. So many times you hear people talk about, oh, we need to market this lesser thing for women, or, oh, you're talking to me of your male privilege, or, oh, I don't want the African Americans to overtake my position as a white person, and I'm afraid of your white privilege, and so many people are getting so rich and so much power from dividing and rendering us asunder. They really are. They love putting man against woman, black against white, Christian against atheist, Jew against Muslim, Muslim against Christian, a gender-specific person against non-gender specific person, gay against straight. It's absolute insanity. And we're letting these people just get away with it, these sowers of scandal and schism. We are letting them thrive. We need to stand up and say no more. I see so many YouTube channels of these sowers of scandal and schism really flourishing with millions of viewers, but I know that my viewers, you seek togetherness, you seek goodness and togetherness, and your numbers are small. You're a small family, but you're an amazing family, and I really appreciate, the stance you take against all of this nonsense, We are a good human family. We are good, we are strong, and we need to be good and strong together. We can't let these sowers of scandal and schism, the people who say white should be against black, Latino against white, Asian against black, all of that nonsense needs to stop, and we need to take a stand right here and now against that stuff. And by watching my channel, I like to think we're moving in the right direction. Our numbers are few, but we're fighting, and that's the important part. Kind of like how I'm fighting at Doom. I'm not fighting too well at Doom, but, so be it. Anyway, the 10th Bolgia of the 8th Circle of Dante's Inferno is for the falsifiers, which includes the alchemists. Their punishment is to writhe in disease, and the 9th circle, the final and bottom circle of the Inferno, is for the treacherous. Their punishment is to wait in a frozen lake. And once they get to the devil himself, he is also frozen in the lake, because remember, Lucifer is punished as well. Hell isn't really like how it is here in Doom, a big scary thing that you gotta use your chain gun to attack. Hell is a place of torment, and even the demons themselves are being tormented. Dante often mentions the geography of hell, and he describes how a lot of it is broken and fallen apart, and that is from the earthquake that shook hell during the crucifixion of Jesus. It is the Christian belief, as I mentioned, I am a Christian. It is the Christian belief, oh, there's a Baron of Hell. You see, the Christian belief, a Baron of Hell is still punished and very much an inferior creature. But the Christian belief is that the worst thing to happen in hell, no, it's not Doom Guy and his shotgun, it's the crucifixion of Jesus. Because it's the ultimate act of God's love and mercy. And that's essentially where Dante is coming from. And then, of course, Virgil leads him through Purgatory, where the souls will eventually find salvation, and then Beatrice takes over and leads him to paradise. I just got finished reading the Lawrence Binion translation of Dante's Inferno, and I'm rereading the John Ciardi translation of the Purgatorio and Paradiso. If your English teacher tries to tell you that you should be reading the Henry Wadsworth Longfellow translation, you have my full permission to stand up in the middle of the class and say, "You're wrong! This translation is inferior. I will not do this. I will read the Ciardi translation or the Binyan translation." The important thing of reading Dante, it should rhyme. Ideally, the first line and the third rhyme should rhyme and line. Wow. I am such an eloquent speaker, let me tell you. The first and third lines should rhyme. Make sure the first and third lines rhyme, and then you should be able to sort of have the full effect that Dante had intended. But going back a little bit to the sowers of scandal and schism, so many people love to divide, and that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to sort of bring some unity to all of us here. And we're coming upon the Easter celebrations, Easter, Passover celebrations, and the Islamic holidays, and the Hindu holidays as well. So the Islamic holidays of Isra and Miraj, and the Hindu holidays of Vasant Panchami. The Hindu holiday of Vasant Panchami is rather interesting. It includes a celebration for the birth of the goddess Sarasvati, and it involves offerings of food and glorious colors at the doorpost. These Islamic celebrations commemorate when Muhammad took his nighttime journey and ultimately ascended into heaven on a horse with a human face. The Jewish folks celebrate Passover, which commemorates God leading the Israelites out of the land of slavery of Egypt, and, of course, they had to put the blood of a lamb on the doorpost to let the Lord know, okay, the angel of death should pass over these houses. We won't kill the firstborn Israelites, we will kill the firstborn Egyptians, and then the Israelites will be able to pass into the promised land safely. And of course, me as a Christian, it's Easter. We believe that Jesus Christ rose from the dead. He is the Paschal sacrifice. The Paschal is the romanticized, I guess. Yeah, it's a Latin root word. Version of the traditions of Ailstre. I cannot pronounce the pagan goddess's name, but there again, the theme there is the winter is now converted into spring if you celebrate the pagan festivity of winter coming into spring. So, in all of this, the Prophet Muhammad ascending into the heavens, the offerings to the goddess Sarasvati, the Buddhist tradition of the Buddha being born. The idea is motion. You have to keep moving, and you have to keep going forward. The times and the seasons move forward, and the darkness and the despair is not going to last. Sure enough, as the darkness and sadness and seemingly endless misery of winter goes on, that will be conquered by the light and joy of spring. I'm totally lost as to what to do now. Oh, I found some monsters, okay. But anyway, all of that will be replaced by spring, just as the people of Israel, who were looking for a savior, found it in Jesus Christ. Sin and death, from the horrors of Good Friday, were defeated by the glorious resurrection of Easter Sunday. The folks of the Middle East in the dunes of Arabia, who were worshipping pagan gods of Arabia that were encouraging human sacrifice, drinking the blood of its people. That was replaced by hope and light from the Prophet Muhammad. And the Jewish folk, they are no longer captive in the land of Egypt. They are now free. Of course, this journey isn't an easy one. This journey requires you to leave a lot of your darkness and your insecurities at the doorpost. You leave your offerings to the Hindu goddess at the doorpost. You, in the Buddhist tradition, Buddha is born now in the springtime. So you have to leave your corrupted desires at the door. You have to put that all in the past so you can move forward. That, I think, is the main idea of this season. The unifying theme between all of the different faiths. And of course, if you don't subscribe to a particular faith, well, I don't like to leave you guys out in the cold there, so yes, the darkness will not last. Sure enough, as spring follows the winter, you will find joy and happiness. And you're going on a journey. Everyone, we're all on a journey here. And the thing is, though, if you want to go anywhere in your journey, you cannot writhe in darkness or sadness. You can't bring your baggage of the past. If someone has a grudge against you, or if someone did something bad against you, you have to let it go. You will never be able to find happiness if you don't let all of your dark, anxious baggage just go away. You have to do something about that. You have to just say, okay, I'm done with it. Christians, we leave it on the hill of Calvary. The Jewish people leave it behind in the land of Egypt. The Islamic people leave it behind as they join Muhammad to see the face of Allah. And the pagan folk leave all of the darkness of winter behind to look forward to the promises of spring. So yes, we are all connected. It's not a Christian against Jew, Muslim against Christian. No, I don't buy any of that. I seek to have us all together. That is my goal, and that has always been my goal. And going back to Doom here, I was kind of hoping I would be able to actually accomplish this level, but I don't know where I am going. I got the blue key. Where's the blue door? The viewers are probably like, what are you even doing right now? And, I don't know. This video has been going on for a very long time, but I like hanging out with you guys. We're a low-key sort of thing, and I said all of the important things I needed to say. I wanted to make sure I, talked about Easter and all of the things that unify us. This is exactly where I was. Yeah, I wanted to talk about all of the things that sort of bring us together, because these sowers of scandal and schism, they are making big bucks by making sure you hate people. Don't give them that satisfaction, man. Just don't. Yeah, listen to this audio. The 32X was truly a disastrous little thing, and the playable screen here is really, really small. I gotta wonder, is this even... It's probably a little more than a quarter of the screen I'm looking at, but man, do we need this background, this weird texture background? It couldn't even be a cool-looking textured background, Yeah, I've also been playing some of the modern Doom, the 2016 Doom, and man, a lot of the things that I thought were kind of easy in this version of Doom are really, really difficult in the newer Doom. And conversely, imps have been known to get the better of me once or twice. Oh, here it is. Oh, see? Imps have been known to get the better of me! Ooh. Oh no, the cat code demon. Well, won't I look stupid if I die now, Oh man. Were there any health pickups back there? My goodness. But yeah, the Catco Demon is really difficult in the newer version of Doom, I think. And Yeah, imps are a lot easier. I love the glory kill in the new Doom. Like, that is something amazing. Alright, so... I'm sorry the gameplay of this Let's Play video didn't really, deliver today, but, have I lost my way again? Like Dante, I have lost my way. Okay, here we go. Yes? No? Yes? Oh, who knows? Yeah, the playthrough didn't really come... and my gameplays on my gameplaying videos don't really, come through all that beautifully, I don't think. Mostly I just have a lot of topics that I wanted to get off my chest and talk about, and I feel like this is a really good vehicle for me to do it. Just hanging out with you guys, you know? I mean, nobody watches my videos anyway, so, you know, what does it matter if it's not interesting to watch? Nobody cares about this channel to begin with, so, you know, except for my wonderful subscribers and people who do view and actually care about the channel. You guys are the best. But yeah, I mean, like, you look at my numbers, I mean, you know, I've seen these statistics. There is no way, like, people are talking, the smaller YouTubers are complaining that the rules for getting monetized are different now. You have to have, like, 4,000 hours of content. I mean, I just chuckle at that because it's like, dude, I knew I was never going to get monetized. Oh, man. Oh, there's, like, a lot more to this level. Kind of wanted to complete the level for you guys, but I made some miscalculations. Yeah, miscalculations were a thing that happened. And I played Doom like such a wuss, you know? Like, waiting around in corners and stuff. Doom was never intended to be that. Doom was always intended to be, jump in there! Like, do this. Make sure you see all of this here. So, not the most exciting level I could have shown you guys. Let me know down in the comment section below if you want to see more Doom on the Sega 32X. I'm Jordan Rolfus from Beagle Rampant Productions. Thank you guys so much for watching. Sometimes I just like to hang out and talk with you guys a little bit, and, you know, I wanted to geek out with some people about Dante and compare Doom and Dante. It's so... all of that infernal imagery, and I wanted to talk about Easter. I'm always interested. What is it that unites us? What can we do to come together as a larger human community? We're always so interested in the scandal and schism these days. What can we do to bring ourselves together? And I love exploring that sort of thing, and I really wanted to talk about that. I maybe didn't want to suck so much at Doom, and I wanted to introduce the 32X because in case I decide to do another video about that. I'm sorry my gameplay wasn't good. I made some miscalculations. I should have, like, maybe moved forward and, like, used some of those resources, because I had, like, hundreds and hundreds of health for quite a while, but then I sort of squandered all that, so that wasn't good. But once again, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys really are the best fans any YouTuber could ever hope to have, and I'm a small YouTuber. I know I'm never going to get monetized or become a large YouTuber, but I have the best team supporting me. All of your comments, everything you guys say, you know, it's so supportive, it's so amazing. You guys really are the best, and I couldn't be happier to have such a wonderful support mechanism behind me. And whatever holiday you celebrate, if you celebrate Muhammad's ascension into heaven, or the Hindu festival of Vasant or the Buddha's birthday, or Passover, or the pagan traditions of Easter, or if you're not celebrating a holiday, I hope that you realize the darkness is going to end. It's going to end, and you are called to do something great. You are called to have a really amazing journey, but you ain't going to get there if you're just gonna be stagnant and carry all of that baggage. You gotta let the darkness go. You gotta move forward. You gotta do great things. Great things don't happen if you stand still and let the darkness and baggage of the past weigh you down. And that's true for Christians. Leave it at the cross of Calvary. For the Jews, leave it behind in the land of Egypt as you go to the promised land. For Islam, leave it all behind and join Muhammad to walk with Allah. You know, that's what we're all about. That's how you're going to move forward. Just leave the baggage of the past behind. The dark times are going to end. You're called to an amazing journey. And, yeah, I'd like to be part of that journey for you. I'm Jordan Rolfes from Beagle Rampant Productions, so make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. I joined the new Vero thing, which is totally in its beta stages, and my god, is it glitchy. So follow me there. My handle is @Jorn, Jorn, Von Beagle, VonBeagle. I'm Jordan Rolfes. Thank you guys once again for watching. You're the best fans any YouTuber could ever hope to have, and have an amazing beginning of spring, whatever that is to your faith, or if you don't subscribe to a faith. May the light and happiness, and may you have an amazing journey, free from all of the darkness of the past.